Well, I had a funny story from yesterday about going to buy tobacco at an Indian reservation, and so I haven't lived anywhere or been anywhere where I've had to put a mask on for anything forever. Basically, I never really did, other than long before they were made mandatory in Arkansas. I had to go to the DMV, and they gave me a paper thing to put over my face. It was before any law, so I didn't, even though I knew it was stupid, I put the paper cover over my mouth. It was literally a piece of hard cardstock with a piece of elastic around it. And this was probably in April of 2020. Anyway, I put that on for about 30 seconds, and then I had one on for a minute, about the same time in April of 2020. I was at the racetrack in I believe it was in Claremore, Oklahoma. It wasn't Tulsa, they're not running, so it was Claremore, Will Rogers Downs. And this was once again before there was no law or mandate. It was just of course that track is run by an Indian tribe or Indian casino, and the Indians are funny about stuff like that, it seems like. Old cop going by there. Anyway, I put it on there for about 2 minutes to go into the saddling paddock with my buddy of mine who was running a horse, and that was the only place you really had to have it on, because they have simulcast to broadcast, and I guess anything seen broadcast on television, they gotta look like they're doing something, and everyone had them around their chin, so that's what I did. Eventually I walked through the paddock, took it off, and that was in March, and that's the last time I've put anything on, especially after they started making them mandatory. I said, fuck you, this is bullshit. I knew exactly where it was going, and so I've never complied with that, other than that combined total of about a minute and a half. Anyway, yesterday, out here in Arizona, it's free and clear for the most, basically everywhere you go. There's no problems, except that I guess this tribal gas station on Highway 87 outside of Coolidge, we stopped in there to buy smokes and almost left because they had a sign that said masks are mandatory. You know, they made a big fuss about it on the outside of the store, and had a little lean-to sign right there where you had to walk by it. And I said, hell, I might as well go in and see what happens. And it's been so long since I've had any type of confrontation over it that I almost forgot. And hell, I got a big adrenaline hit again. But I walked in, and immediately this heavy-set young girl behind the counter, there's quite a few people in there. They're all covered up like good little sheep. And I walked in, sir, do you have a mask? Do you have a mask? And I pretended like I didn't hear, which I didn't. It was kind of muffled, obviously. So I walked up to the counter, sir, do you have a mask? And I just looked at her and just paused for a second. And I looked her right in the face, and I said, or in the eyes, what I could see of her face. And I said, no. Just like that. And I waited a minute for her to say something. She didn't say anything. I said, so I just went on. I said, I need 2 Blue American Spirits. And she looked at me, didn't know what to do for a minute, and then a minute later she just turned around and went and got the tobacco and rung me up. And I could tell she wanted to say something, and I wasn't being rude, but I just kind of paused and was like, give her a blank look and smiled at her as nope. And then she didn't know what to say. So, and anyway, boy, I got a pretty good adrenaline hit though. I guess I'm not scared of confrontation, but I don't really get into confrontations with anyone on a regular basis. So I guess I'm not a psychopath, so I care about people's feelings, and I don't want to make anyone mad or hurt their feelings, but I know how charged that gets and how important that is to people, despite all of the graphs and all the charts you can see where any type of mandate is implemented, and you can see, you can't tell any difference anywhere in the world. There's no difference in so-called case rates anywhere in the world, and after mandates. In fact, it always seems like look at a chart where they introduce a mandate, the whatever the so-called cases go up afterwards. So take that as you, for what it's worth. But I'm just going by common sense here and knowing that until the year 2020, all accepted. I mean, they were definitive papers, peer-reviewed, that everyone took for granted and understood to be I guess you could call the consensus, which is a dangerous word, but that universal mask wearing does nothing to stop the spread of viral transmission. And I wonder, by saying this, if I'm going to get my channel completely knocked down. Whatever, doesn't really matter. Say the truth when you can. And I'm not going out of my way to antagonize any bots on YouTube or any poor little Palo Alto snowflakes that may be charged with guarding the narrative. But in this one, I thought it was kind of a funny deal that people in certain pockets. What's funny to me is that people in certain pockets of the country are still so brainwashed and are such true believers in the nonsense. It's still kind of funny that they can't open their eyes and look at reality and understand that they're being good little servants of a new religion, a new cult, and by showing obedience to nonsensical and illogical demands on them. Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox and call that good for the day. Lord willing, this video, well, that's all I'm going to say about it. So, hope you've enjoyed this one. If you think it's funny, or if you believe what I believe and you want someone to think about it a little bit, go ahead and send them this video. I don't know that it'll do any good. I think a lot of people's minds are made up, for better or worse, at this point. And it's just going to be a long, slow process to deprogram all of the poor little sheep that went along with everything and now don't want to admit how wrong they were. But anyway, that's all there is for today, and I'll be back tomorrow. Adios.